What's happening YouTube? It's the other half 1993 here. I know I haven't made a video in a while. I just haven't really felt all that compelled to, I suppose. But well, here I am with a updated deck profile. I built a scrap deck profile like right when D-Rev first came out, but as plenty of people pointed out, it was pretty horrible. But so I'm here with an updated. Like I meant to update this scrap deck profile a couple times, but seeing as I just got top 4 with the deck, hey, at regional today, figure this is as good a time as any to update the deck profile. So yeah, this is the mat I won. There's the binder right there. Got 2 packs of D-Rev for making top 4, and got an ulti solemn warning, so that's pretty nice. So yeah, let's just get to it. First off, you got 3 scrap Chimera. Pretty self-explanatory. It's, the deck's Debris Dragon, freaking busted as hell, best card in the deck. Next, you got 3 Scrap Beasts. Again, really self-explanatory. It's the deck's main tuner, level 4, sets up all kinds of combos. Makes for easy synchroing, especially with Chimera. I opted for excuse me. I opted for only 2 Scrap Goblin today, and that'll be more apparent with my card choices later on. But don't get me wrong, I love this guy. He's an excellent wall, and I love using him to bring back Chimera, especially if Beast is already engraved. But I really don't like him against Blackwings and Glides. For Glides, he's just a free tag out, and for Blackwings, he's just Boar's bitch. So I opted for only 2, and again, that'll become more apparent why later on. Next up is 2 Spies and a Guard. I did, I don't know, I think Spies are definitely some of the best, one of the best ways to go, and but I don't like 2 Spies by itself, so I opted for the Guard, and no, not Descendant Guard. You'll need to learn that Guard is infinitely better than Descendant. Next up is Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk, is obviously a 2-card 8-star synchro with Scrap Beast. But the funny thing is, I found myself going for Dark End a lot more than Scrap Dragon with this, especially if I already have access to a Chimera next turn, or if the opponent has a face down monster. I just like Dark End's ability to blow up a monster without blowing up one of your cards. So like I said, I usually find myself going for Dark End with Summoner Monk as opposed to Scrap Dragon. But either way, Summoner Monk is an excellent card. Next up is Morphing Jar, probably one of my favorite monsters in the deck. Morphing Jar just gets work done. No better way to put it. Like if you're holding like a Scrap Tuner or something, and if you open with this guy, a Scrap Tuner and 4 spell traps, no contest. Just set the spell traps in the Morphing Jar, let your beast go to the graveyard. It's another option when you start to run out of cards in your hand. Morphing Jar just gets work done. Love this card. Alright, now, at this point, I gotta give credit to Ryan Newburn. He is the one who introduced me to the ideas of these next upcoming card choices, which you don't often see in Scraps, or at least I never saw in Scraps. I gotta admit, he's pretty ingenious for thinking of this, and it's gonna seem a bit strange at first, but trust me, these cards work out a lot better than you think they would. 2 Armageddonite. And what these 2 Armageddonites will mainly pitch is your Level Eater and Plague Spreader. Now, Level Eater we all know is good with Scrap Dragon. You reduce Scrap Dragon's level by 1, bring Level Eater back, pop Level Eater into monster. It's basically free destruction. And if you have multiple Scrap Dragons, you can Level Eater multiple times per turn. I was using Level Eater earlier, but only with Foolish, and it was alright, but it wasn't all that great. Like, drawing Level Eater isn't really that great. Basically what Armageddonite offers is another first turn option. Like if you don't open with Spy or Beast and Scrapstorm, which are your most common first turn plays, this gives you another first turn play. Armanite into Level Eater if you can bring out Scrap Dragon within the next couple turns. If you don't think you can, at all, if your hand is just absolutely horrible, then I recommend pitching for Plague. Plague is mostly in here just to keep Armageddonite more consistent. Like if you draw if you draw and have Love Leader, or if Love Leader is already in the grave, you can dump Plague, and Plague just gives more options to the deck. There are honestly games where, and then like Ryan explained this to me, and it became apparent to me in testing. There are games where you never summon Scrap Dragon, but Plague Spreader and Nagoyo just gets it done by itself. I'm telling you, Plague Spreader is a beast. Another piece of advice that Ryan gave to me that was again really good was if you're ever going second, like you usually want to side these four out because Armageddon Knight into like if your opponent goes first and sets up their field, Armageddon Knight isn't a very strong play into that field, even if you're pitching Plague Spreader. So siding these four out is recommended if you're going second. But excellent suggestion on his part. Again, it seems very weird, but believe me, it works extremely well. He was at the regional too, and he got top 4. I don't know how similar our decks were, but I know the Armageddon Knights and Plague Spreader with Love Leader is the key similarity. And that's all for monsters. Trap lineup is pretty simple. Got the 2 bottomless. Let's see here. Got the 2 Solemn Warnings. The Solemn Judgment. No, this one needs explaining. Call of the Haunted and Torrential. I really don't like Decrees all that much because, yeah, Decree's a really good card, but it's really only good when you already have Scrap Dragon out. I mean, I guess you could flip it preemptively to try to shut down a Solemn Warning that would otherwise stop your Scrap Chimera, but like I said, I've only found that Decree is only really good when Scrap Dragon is already out, so... And honestly, I like having access to Bottomless and Solemn Warning as opposed to just Decrees and negating traps in general. So that's just my 2 cents on it. I think it's more of a personal preference. Next up for spells, I got 3 Scrapyard. Originally, I was running 3 Goblin, 2 Scrapyard, but an idea I had, and it ended up working really well, was to drop a Goblin for a 3rd Scrapyard. Just because, like I said, I like Goblin, but there are a lot of times where, especially against Glads and Blackwings, which are pretty common matchups, and ironically also, in my opinion, the deck's hardest matchups, where Goblin just doesn't really help that much, and Scrapyard gives more options for tuners, and like I said, 3 Scrapyard, 2 Goblin worked out great for me. And then, of course, is the obligatory 3 Scrapstorm, second best card in the deck, only behind Chimera. But I usually end up siding one or 2 out game 2 and 3, just because like once you're siding in all of your anti stuff, depending like for example like Thunder Kings or Veilers, because just when you're siding in your side stuff, you're focusing a little less on the scrap combos, so you don't need Scrap Storm as badly. That's just how I side anyway. I got 2 dualities. There actually was the deck right now is 40. I actually did borrow a 3rd one for the regional, and it was 41. I played the deck without duality for the longest time, and now that I use the deck with dualities, it really does make all the difference. Duality, especially opening, just gives you so many more options and sets up your plays a lot faster. So like I said, the deck with 2 dualities is 40, but I had 3 dualities and it was at 41. There's a Lure with all the darks in the graveyard. A Lure is another way to draw and thin your deck. It's another excellent option. I love Allure. Helped me draw into a lot of good stuff today. Mind Control, of course, with all your synchroing. Pretty obligatory. 1 Book of Moon. I actually managed to borrow the 3rd pod duality at the last moment, like right before round 1 started. So, and I was using 2 Book of Moons, but I dropped a Book of Moon for the 3rd duality. And then I thought about dropping the Book of Moon and just keeping it at 40, but even 1 Book of Moon was, in my opinion, worth it to keep it at 41. It was a little weird, a little awkward just running 1, but even 1 Book of Moon is better than none. I love Book of Moon in this format. I would have loved to put in another one, maybe even a 3rd one, but in my opinion, there's just absolutely no room left in the deck. And then there's, of course, Monster Reborn and Dark Hole, as well as 2 MST and Trunade. Pretty self-explanatory. Cold Wave, don't get me wrong, I love, but this deck relies more on back rows than my other scrap variant, or than my other scrap deck did. And I also didn't have room for Cold Wave either. Now the side deck. Here's the side deck I used, but I'm gonna explain some stuff that I would have done different. I sided 2 Cyber Dragon. I probably should have sided a third, mainly because I saw more Machina than I thought I was going to. But also Cyber Dragon is really just brilliant for going second. Like I said, if you're going second, it's highly recommended you side out the Armageddon Knights, the Plague Spreader, and the Love Leader. Um, and then in exchange, you side in these 3 Cyber Dragon just to increase your odds of opening up with one. It's something I've been doing for a while. Like Ryan suggested, siding out the Arma Knights, but siding in Cyber Dragon's games, whatever game you're going second, is something I've been doing for a while. It seems pretty obvious to me. So I don't know how innovative a tip that is. Then there's 2 Effect Veiler. I was debating running either these guys or Crow. But let me tell you, I love Effect Veiler so much more than DD Crow, especially because there's another removal option that in the side deck. But Effect Veiler is just excellent against Quick Draw, Scrap Mirror Match, Sabers, Glads, Machina. Love this card against Machina. Like Blackwing is honestly the only matchup where I really don't like Effect Veiler. I was maining one for a while, but again, I didn't have room in the main, so I just moved the second one to the side. Thunder King Ryo. Again, I love this card. It's good against just about any matchup right now, and just gets work done. Love Thunder King. 1 Crevice. Now I know people usually don't like Crevice, but I actually love 1, maybe even 2 Crevice in the Scrap side deck, just because it's a better alternative to DD Crow. Because I know Crevice can be dead a lot, but Scrap Dragon definitely helps fix that. Just if Crevice is dead, just blow it up with Scrap Dragon. But yeah, against Blackwing, no, maybe not Blackwing so much, but definitely Sabers and Quick Draw and maybe even Zero. Definitely love using Crevice. 1 Starlight Road for Glads and Blackwing. 1 Chain Disappearance, that's mainly for Quick Draw and X Sabers. 2, well, I had to borrow one of the Malevolent Catastrophes, but I cited 2 Malevolent Catastrophes. I'm probably going to take at least one of them out. I didn't see them all day. I saw 1, but I never got to use it, so I don't know how useful it is, but it seems like it could be pretty good. 2 Trap Hole. Can I recommend this card enough against Sabers, Blackwings, Glads? And then finally 2 Noblemen. Another card that just is amazing in this format against Sabers, Quick Draw, and the like. Alright, now the extra deck. One thing that I actually found quite interesting about the Scrap extra deck is that there's just so many options for it. Like, it's just so versatile. Like, so what I'm gonna do is, like, I've found that there's really only 12. Like, there's 12 synchro monsters or there's 12 extra deck monsters you absolutely need, or I found I absolutely needed. So I'm just gonna map out those 12 and then explain my other 3 choices. The ones I found necessary were Stardust. Of course, you want 3 Scrap Dragon because there are plenty of games you'll go through all 3. Scrap Archfiend just in case. Goyo, Dark End Dragon, Colossal Fighter, Bionic, Black Rose, Arcanite, and Chimera Tech. Now these are the other 3 that I added that I don't feel are unnecessarily mandatory, but I like in my variant. I use the second Stardust because I'm using Starlight Road. That's pretty obvious. In this variant, I would definitely go for 2 Dark End Dragon. I never needed to, but there were plenty of matches where I did summon Dark End, and I actually love Dark End a lot. I almost love it as much as Scrap Dragon. But plenty of opportunities to summon this guy, so a second one in this variant definitely wouldn't hurt. And then it was either, I was debating between a second Black Rose or Arcanite. I figured with less Scrap Goblins, Arcanite might be a little less consistent, so I opted for the second Black Rose. But yeah, that is my top 4. The Scrap deck I got top 4 at the regionals, so let me know what you guys think. This is the other F1993, and peace out.